Okay, I'm going to read your books tonight. I do need you to get into bed, under the covers, get comfortable, get your pillow set. You don't need to look at the pictures. You can just listen to my voice and close your eyes. Are you all in there? Okay. The first book we're going to read tonight is You Belong Here. It's written by M.H. Clark. The stars belong in the deep night sky, and the moon belongs there too. And the winds belong in each place they blow by, and I belong here with you. The whales and the fishes belong in the sea, and the waves belong by the shore, and the dunes where the grasses belong to be, because grasses are what dunes are for. And the trees belong in the wild wood, and the deer belong in their shade, and the birds belong so safe and good, and warm in the nests they've made. And you belong where you love to be, and after each day is through, you will always belong right next to me, and I'll belong next to you. The frogs and the lilies belong in the lake, where the water is silver and clear, and the turtles belong in their homes that they make, in the sand where the water is near. And the otters belong by the banks of the stream, and the cattails belong there too. And the carp belong where the water runs green, and the shadows all run blue. And you belong right here, where you're home, and where I hold you close. In all of the wonders I've ever known, you're the one I love the most. The hares belong in the desert air, where the rocks are red and gold. And those rocks belong where the comets out there, which flash bright when the night turns cold. The foxes belong in the high canyon hills, and the sage there belongs in the sun. And the lizards belong in the light, sitting still until they are ready to run. The crickets belong in the old stone wall, and the bees belong in the clover. Just as winter belongs in its place after fall, before the new year starts over. And you are a dream that the world once dreamt, and now you're part of its song. That's why you are here in the place you're meant, for this is right where you belong. The pines belong on the mountain sides, tucked under their blankets of snow, and the bears belong in caves where they hide, wherever the storms start to blow. Some creatures were made for the land or the air, the others were made for the sea. Each creature is perfectly home right there in the place that it belongs to be. And no matter what place you travel to, what wonders you choose to see, I will always belong right here with you, and you'll always belong with me. And there we are. No extra. And for the second book, one of my favorites, so loved that the cover is off, Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Sima. Kelp was born deep in the ocean. He knew early on that he was different from the other narwhals. His tusk wasn't as long as everybody else's. He had different tastes in foods. He wasn't a very good swimmer. But his friends didn't seem to mind, so Kelp decided he wouldn't either. That is, until he was swept away by a strong current. I wish I were a better swimmer. Here's Kelp. Kelp found himself at the surface, closer to land than he'd ever been before. High up on a cliff, he spotted a mysterious, sparkling creature. It looked so familiar. It looked like kelp. Kelp swam towards land as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that he could catch up with the creature that looked just like him. When he finally reached the shore, Kelp felt a little bit anxious. He had never left the ocean. He was nervous about walking for the first time, but the land creatures made it look so easy. Walking like a little grab. It wasn't. Ow! Eventually, he got the hang of it. Everything on land was strange and beautiful, but also kind of scary. Kelp began to think he might never find the creature that looked just like him, but as he stumbled out of the forest, land narwhals. Oh my gosh, he sees his people. Land narwhals. Rainbows and unicorns are land narwhals. Actually, we're unicorns, and by the looks of it, so are you. Dook-a-dook-dook-dook-dook-dook. Kelp had never heard of unicorns before. They taught him all sorts of new things about his tusk. We call them horns. Wow! They introduced him to unicorn delicacies, like the unicorn, which was ice cream. They showed him how to gallop. There was no doubt that Kelp was, in fact, a unicorn. He was having so much fun that he didn't want to leave. But then he remembered all of his friends under the sea. Kelp missed them terribly, so he said goodbye to the unicorns and returned to the ocean. Come back soon. There's Kelp. Kelp swam towards home as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that the narwhals would still like him now that he was a unicorn. When he finally arrived, Kelp had butterflies in his stomach. "Welcome home, Kelp," everybody greeted him. Kelp took a deep breath and told his friends the news. "It turns out I'm not a narwhal." "Of course you aren't. I'm a unicorn. We all knew that." They took it quite well. Kelp was happy to be home, but now that he'd experienced life on land with the unicorns, he couldn't seem to forget them. Did he want to be a land narwhal with the unicorns or a sea unicorn with the narwhals? Kelp couldn't decide, but then he realized that maybe just maybe he didn't have to choose. There he is. And everybody that loves him is around him. It doesn't matter if they're unicorns or they're narwhals. They're all his family. And because of him, they're all partying together. So, that looks good. And the little joke at the end says, it has a rhinoceros, a baby rhinoceros with a little horn. And he says, I'm a unicorn. And then you see Kelp. And he says, like, how am I going to break the news to you? All right. So again, that fun book was Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Sima. All right, this is going to be the last book. And it's a favorite. So I want you to get really comfy. Comfy like Kona. Hi, Kona. Hi, baby. Make sure you're settled in. We are reading Room on the Broom by Julia Donaldson. The witch had a cat in the hat that was black, and long ginger hair in a braid down her back. How the cat purred, and how the witch grinned, as they sat on their broomstick and flew through the wind. But how the witch wailed, and how the cat spat, when the wind blew so wildly, it blew off the hat. Down, cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the hat, but no hat could be found. Then out of the bushes, on thundering paws, there bounded a dog with a hat in his jaws. He dropped it politely and eagerly said, as a witch pulled the hat firmly down on her head, I am a dog, as keen as can be. Is there room on the broom for a dog like me? Yes, cried the witch, and the dog clambered on, and the witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the fields and forest they flew. The dog wagged his tail, and the stormy wind blew. The witch laughed out loud and held on to her hat, but away blew the bow from her braid just like that. Her little yellow bow came off of her witch braid. Down, cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the bow, but no bow could be found. Then out from a tree, with an ear-splitting shriek, there flapped a green bird with a bow in her beak. She dropped it politely and bent her head low, then said, as the witch tied her braid in the bow, I am bird, as green as can be. Is there room on the broom for a bird like me? Yes, cried the witch. So the bird fluttered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the reeds and the rivers they flew. The birds shrieked with glee, in the stormy wind blew. They shot through the sky to the back of beyond. The witch clutched her bow, but let go of her wand. Down, cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the wand, but no wand could be found. Then all of a sudden, from out of the pond leaped a dripping, wet frog with a dripping, wet wand. He dropped it politely, then said with a croak, as the witch dried the wand on the fold of her cloak, I am frog as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for a frog like me? Yes, said the witch. So the frog bounded on. The witch tapped the broomstick and whoosh, they were gone. Over the moons and the mountains they flew. The frog jumped for joy, and the broom snapped in two. Down fell the cat and the dog and the frog. Down they went tumbling into a bog. The witch's half broomstick flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. I am dragon, as mean as can be, and witch with French fries tastes delicious to me. No, cried the witch, flying higher and higher. The dragon flew after her, breathing out fire. Help, cried the witch, flying down to the ground. She looked all around, but no help could be found. The dragon grew near with a glint in his eyes and said, just this once, I'll have witch without fries. But just as he planned to begin on his feast, from out of a ditch rose a horrible beast. It was tall, dark, and sticky, and feathered and furied. It had 4 frightful heads. It had wings like a bird and a terrible voice, and it started to speak as a yowl and a growl and a croak and a shriek. It dripped and it squenched as it strode from the ditch, but it said to the dragon, Buzz off! That's my witch. Who is it? The dragon drew back and he started to shake. I'm sorry, he sputtered. I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly. And he spread out his wings and he was off through the sky. Then down flew the bird and down jumped the frog. Down climbed the cat and phew, said the dog. And thank you, oh grateful witch cried. Without you I'd be in that dragon's insides. Then she filled up her cauldron and sat with a grin. Find something, everyone, to throw something in. So the frog found a lily and the cat found a cone. The bird found a twig and the dog found a bone. Then they threw them all in, and the witch stirred them well, and while she was stirring, she muttered a spell. Iggity, ziggity, zaggity, zoom! Then out rose a truly magnificent broom, with seats for the witch and the cat and the dog, and a nest for the bird and a pool for the frog. Yes, cried the witch, and they all clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. There they are. So, I hope everybody has a great night and has sweet dreams. And maybe you can think of what you would throw into the cauldron, something that was special to you that you could add to make some magic. What would you add to the cauldron? Close your eyes and think about it. You can tell everybody over breakfast, okay? You are loved. Good night.